Hello, Facebook. What is happening? And YouTube, what's going on? Gonzalo here. Thursday night Course in Miracles at the Temple of the Living God in St. Pete, Florida, USA. Hope everybody's doing wonderful and hanging tough. Last day of the calendar year, if you pay attention to such things. So, short class tonight. Had a lovely sharing and just illuminating again what would appear to be very, very thick barriers of guilt that keeps us bound and tied and imprisoned in this world. So one of the things I love about the Course in Miracles, it's one of the very few paths that speak so clearly and precisely to guilt and innocence as being the pathways to either hell or heaven, if you want to call it that. So deep and so with such emphasis that Jesus in the Course speaks about guilt and how sharp and how diligent and how disciplined we need to be in being able to see past it and not be intimidated by it. As we know, in this world, we get swayed and influenced and we conform because of guilt. Obligations are so dense that we never really get to experience the full light of God that we are, because we're running around tied to guilty influences and obligations that are not in the best interest of freeing ourselves. And so Jesus in the Course is really getting us to pay attention to everything in this world, the physical bodies and what the physical bodies are doing, and to really notice that the driving force behind it is not the body. The driving force behind it is not the brain or the intellect, but the driving force behind this world is guilt. Guilt, in essence, is the glue that keeps this world together. Guilt is the fuel that keeps this world spinning on its axis. The reason that people do things that out of habit and do things out of obligation and do things out of custom and do things out of fear, whether it's friends, family, job, society, cultural expectations, religious, relationship expectation, it's because of guilt. It is not because God willed us with this magical, powerful influence in us to just live our lives here the way that we're living it. We're living our lives, generally speaking, with the influences and with the motivations of the ego belief system rooted in guilt. And it is so deep, it is seemingly so dense, the belief system is, that it requires a whole lot of diligence to be able to unglue us and get back to that perfect light of God, the perfect spirit of God that we all are, that is not tied to this world. Do we deny what's going on in the world? No. Do we pretend or fake what's going on in the world if it's bringing us concern and worry? No, absolutely not. Jesus in the Course in Miracles never says to fake or deny our experience here. Quite the opposite. We take our experience, we pinpoint our experience, we clarify what is it that's weighing us down with a deep sense of honesty, and we bring it to the light of spirit to be able to have it illuminated and shown to us a different way. We never deny or fake or pretend anything that we're holding on in the name of being holy or spiritual. Ever, because it's not helpful. It's not helpful to us. It's not helpful to any other brothers and sisters out there for us to fake it. But what we do is that we are very clear with ourselves and very honest, deeply honest with ourselves and the Holy Spirit Jesus about the things that are weighing us down, the things that are really harboring a lot of guilt and shame, and ask for Jesus to shine the holy light of spirit on it for us to really see it for what it is, and to be asked to be led from there, for us for it to be lifted from us. But the work really on our part is training our minds, purifying our minds, cleaning our minds of the guilt, and that has to be done with such depth and diligence and discipline for us to truly know and feel that the Spirit of God is working in us to be able to cleanse all of those guilty attachments. So again, I'll read with you the guiding principles of this course here, this group at least. is one, you don't have to believe, agree, or accept anything I'm sharing. We're not here to convince, preach, or force anything on you. 2, we invite you, if you're led and if you're comfortable, to know that this is a safe space to reveal any guilty, shameful burdens you wish to share with complete non-judgment, an essential step to freedom from the ego. Again, not for everybody. It wasn't for me for a long time to be doing it in group, but the important thing there is that we set the intention with spirit. The important thing in exposing the guilty baggage that we're holding on to is to set that intention with spirit. That's why spirit gave that to me. To really, if you're not comfortable sharing in a group setting things that we call sensitive, that's okay. That's okay. The important thing is that we set that intention with spirit, with Jesus, to say, look, these are the things I think I'm inventorying in my mind, I'm clarifying in my mind. These are things that are weighing me down. I've been carrying for a long time, and you know what they are. You know the stuff that we shove down in the closet, that stuff. I'm not talking about all the ticky-tacky, noisy stuff that is in and out, and that will continue to be in and out in this ego insane belief system called the ego chatter in our minds. I'm talking about the stuff that's weighing us down, that's been weighing us down for a long time. You know what it is, that stuff in the closet. That stuff has to be clarified. We have to be really honest about ourselves, to articulate with ourselves and with spirit, to be able to ask to be shown the way and shown the light with those things. If we don't do that, we're just going to be dancing around the shallow end, and we'll never ever fully experience the perfect light of God and that perfect happiness that we are. We have to get brave enough with our Course in Miracles practice. I'm talking to Course in Miracles students. We have to get brave with our Course in Miracles practice. Reading a book is one thing. Coming to group is one thing. I appreciate people who come to group. I appreciate people who don't come to group. But at some point, you want to go deeper than just going through the motions. At some point, the call is so strong that you want to go deeper than just accepting that you have to hold on to guilty, shameful burdens that you've learned your whole life to shove down in the closet, suck it up, and do the best you can. At some point, you hear the call strong enough to where you want to be free. More than anything else, you want to be free. More than people liking you, you want to be free. More than people accepting you, you want to be free. More than your partners or your loved ones or your family or your coworkers or your peers accepting you or thinking you're okay or thinking you're a good guy or loving you in some way. More than any of that, you want to be free from the chains of this guilty ego belief system that says you're guilty and you're not worthy of the perfect light of God. You're not good enough for the perfect happiness and the perfect love of God. And so just keep kicking around in the world doing the best you can, and maybe God will bless you when he feels like it. Maybe God will bless you when you act right. Maybe God will bless you when you behave. Maybe God will bless you when you get in line and get your act together. At some point, the deeper you go with this practice, you want more than anything else to just be completely free. And you stop caring about what other people will think or say about your journey and where it takes you in shedding this worldly belief system that says that we're just this and that this is all that we are and that we are completely tied to time, the past, and the future. And do the best you can, Gonzalo. At some point, you may hear the call strong enough to break free of those chains of limitation. So the purpose here is to be completely non-compromising and applying Holy Spirit's guidance to every single problem, every single worry or happiness in our daily lives. Not to exclude anything from the Holy Spirit's light, not to analyze, not to understand or rationalize anything, because that creates a barrier or resistance, but just to let Holy Spirit shine its light on every single thing that comes in our minds, everything, good and bad. Because at the end of the day, if it's a thought rooted in the world, then it's a thought that's going to eventually lead us to darkness and not to the perfect light of God. So remember, even in the world, pleasure in the world is the same as pain. It's just disguised. So the end goal and purpose is complete release from all attachments, all guilt, all judgments of this world, so we cannot leave any unexposed, none whatsoever. And again, I don't necessarily mean openly, verbally. What I'm saying is mainly with spirit. And then from there, we will be led. We will be led with how to open up and release those burdens. Very scary walk. It's a very brave walk, but trust me. There is no other journey and no other undertaking, no other practice more worthwhile than really dedicating yourself with such a diligence to what the Holy Spirit, with the voice of God, is leading us to do. The identity, the sense of wholeness, the sense of completeness that the Holy Spirit, Jesus, the voice for God, is leading us to is so out of this world we can't even talk about it. And there is no other undertaking, no other task more worthy of us than to listen to that voice and sharpen our listening skills to the voice of truth, not the voice of insanity that we hear all day long, but to sharpen our listening ability and our heart openness and our mind openness to that perfect light of God that's talking to us constantly, to really dedicate ourselves to listen to that and see where it takes us, and to see how deep we can really go in starting to identify ourselves with the light of God and not the insane identity that we've known as our physical selves here in this world. So that's all I got. It's going to be an early night for me tonight, and I appreciate everybody. Have a lovely, lovely evening, closing out the calendar. And remember, a lot of people are hoping 2021 is better. We don't have to hope 2021 is better. We just have to practice knowing that the better we get at clearing out our minds with the Holy Spirit, the better that we get at cleansing our minds of all the junk and baggage that our ego belief system has had us accumulate in the world that says we're weak, we're limited, we're going to die someday, whether it's a virus or something else. The better that we get at cleansing our minds of every false belief that we've accumulated in this world, which are all of them in this world, about our worldly identity, the better we get at cleansing our minds with that, then the more joyful, the more perfectly happy, the more unconditional this coming year will be and beyond. And when I say unconditional, I mean our state of joy, our state of being and wholeness does not have to depend on anything going on in this world. Vaccine, no vaccine. Virus, no virus. Job, no job. People like me, people don't like me. Our well-being, our wholeness, our joy, our sense of completeness does not have to depend on anything except our decision to identify with the perfect light that we are. So remember, we don't have to hope and pray that 2021 is better. We just have to do a better job at clearing out our minds. And no matter what 2021 brings, our joy, our peace, our perfect happiness, our unconditional beingness that we are, is there for the taking for us to go deeper and deeper into, regardless of what's going on in this world and what events may appear to tempt us to take our peace away. So have a beautiful evening. Love you all. Good evening. Bye-bye.